to DIY with Craig. We finally got the holes drilled in this 785 Hudson, and it was a number 44 drill that was the correct size. And the tender, you know, I scratched off the letters, but then I sanded it and painted it. But the gray on these was left on them. But the white letters, when they were scratched off, I touched them up with some primer and they imprinted, which was a kind of a pain. Didn't do it where the gray was. So anyhow, you know, we already showed you the tender and the trucks, you know, for the tender's going on. But this is the coal pile off the gray tender, and you'll notice they didn't put the holes in for the whistle. But we'll drill these out. There's 1, 2. You can see where the casting marks are in them. It's a close-up, but see the marks show you where to drill the 2 holes, and it goes over the air holes so that it can whistle. If you put your finger over here or make it where the air doesn't flow, they don't whistle. So we'll be drilling that. And the paint is just a flat black from Home Depot, their cheapest paint. And it has that, it's not flat, and it's got a slight sheen, and it's pretty much the right color for a black engine. So thinner's getting pricey, so I used to spray them out the airbrush and all, but the can, as you can see, does a good job if you don't lay it on too thick. And put a little touch up where we finished this off where the holes go. I had taken this little pump off so that I didn't nick it with the wheel when I was grinding, and I forgot to put it on before I painted it, which is the easier way to go. Oh, I put it the white ink I got from Joe Mania to stamp these. It's not like crisp white like the old Janice Bennett dry transfers. I really miss them. But we'll go over and I'll show you what white looks like on black. I'm thinking of doing the lettering in silver just because it shows up so much better, and I'm not trying to fake this so somebody thinks it's a real 763E from back in the day. White ink. And as you can see, like on the New York Central tender, that's sort of the crisp letters. And these are the Janice Bennett letters, or dry transfers, that really look good, but can't get them. Somebody started out making them, and somebody had me put them on a car they made, and had a hard time with making them stick. The silver on the gunmetal. And we'll go over and look at silver on black. Didn't use the drawbar, use this. They're easier to couple with these, the newer ones. But on this one, that is the silver. And it looks more white on black than the white does. And that's one I sort of favor because the white, like I said, it's not a dense enough white to show up right. 785 in gunmetal with nickel journals, high coupler, is what they put with the Blue Comet set with 4 cars. Don't have room for the 4th car in this cabinet. And the black version I did of a 785 has a high coupler, and this freight set has the high couplers that are, you know, spaced. The low couplers tucked up under the truck more, and that's what I prefer. But I'm just pointing out now that they made these high couplers, low couplers, and put different trucks under these. Show this. Now this isn't Lionel. I wanted to show everybody this because, you know, a lot of these are warped and other things, but this car, which has all the features of a original 29, what was this one? 16. This is a Mike Train house. Now, when you unscrew these screws here, the hole's a little big, but the trucks go right on. But these don't have steps on them. But if you want to make a set and don't want to pay a bunch of money, you buy a die cast Mike's Train house. The Lionel, I bought one, had a bent axle, so I retrucked it, but we'll show you that next. Because if you're going to make the engine, you want to make the cars that go with it. This, the gunmetal also went with the 2800 series cars, like the crane car, the gondola, the searchlight car, and the 2817 caboose. Could be an 817 without electric couplers. The low couplers, the trains fit tighter together and they look more scale. That was the whole idea. Now this car is an original Lionel car, and it says Lionel lines on it, and it has steps. And anyhow, I looked up and got one at a decent price. This is one of the silver tank cars that got done in black. And I was going to show you the original ones. They painted them flat black. And when you try to put a decal on flat black, they flake off. So this one was painted gloss, the decals applied, and then it was dull coated with Testor's dull coat with a mixture of gloss to make it look like the original car. But it's not as flat. But you can see where if you just touch any of this lettering, it's going to fall off. And if you redecal it, you should gloss coat this. They got some decal things that make it glossy. Then you put the decal on, then you dull coat the decal. But this is a die cast with the rail all around. This is a steel tanker. But I got to see people that have painted these and are making them as high priced as you can buy one of these with the bad decals. That I used, and it works for K-Line Lionel for putting a pre-war truck on it. And this is the screw holes, and you take the die cast piece off, and then well, I actually do the dish thing like I did with these. It gets a socket and then put in the press, and so that it becomes like this. And like I said, you got to do this for K-Line and Lionel. The Mike's Train House, like I said, you can just stick the truck under there. It's a little loose in the hole, but you don't need those. Okay, now we're going to drill this coal pile that came off the 785 from the 80s. And we're going to drill these two holes 1/4 inch. So we just need to, is that it?
That's nuts.
Just use a little acrylic monomer to reinforce the back so it doesn't Okay, so the originals of these were Bakelite. I don't know what they made these out of, but probably could have used a less aggressive drill bit, but there we go. So this is the trucks we rebuilt and put a pre-war whistle on. And the only thing left to do is attach the wires to the whistle. And this gets a drawbar. I already made the pin. Need to get some flux there behind you. Just putting a little flux on the wires so that the solder sticks better. going to go back to the, I'll show you the drawbar, medium bar drawbar. The 226 is this long, and then some other ones are shorter. But and we made the showed you we drilled in the last episode the thing, and this is a piece of bronze 3/16 rod, hammered it flat, slid a washer up on it and silver soldered it, and that's what drops in through the body of the engine. And then this is off a tie tack chain. Need another little ring to attach it to the back of the engine, but that's what the yeah, it's a preference thing. That makes it look like the other one. It's a pain to actually couple a tender to the engine using the drawbar that comes with this truck, or the pre-war, but you know, easier to hook than drop the pin in the drawbar. But it's just a preference. They're your trains, you can do what you want with them. But this is the these are those plastic truck things that fall out. A little bit of super glue will hold them in there. But if anybody got lots of these trucks, the reason I don't use them is they don't have heavy rollers to blow the whistle with, you know, contactors. Basically, this tender's fed through the engine pickup, you know, that's what drives the board. But like I said, this sound is horrible. Much rather listen to the old air whistle. Last step, and as soon as we decide if we're going to stamp it white or black, silver, it depends on if the silver is any good left in the bottle. Once the engine's stamped, then we'll assemble the stanchions and then put the engine back together. But the tender is just put the hardware back on the shell. Handrails, steps, coal pile. But project's pretty much, we did all the hard work now. Actually, the hard work's getting these trucks and then setting them up. And like, this is one of the little couplers that we silver soldered, and this will pull the scale cars with the small low trucks. So it just depends what you want. You build them with the high trucks and nickel journals if you want to pull the Blue Comet cars or the work train. And if you're going to pull Madison cars from pre-war with pre-war couplers, or scale cars with the low close coupled couplers, you gotta get the WX style low coupler. And I showed you how to make them if you don't have them. So the only thing I didn't show you was how to and you can make a comment if you want me to do this one or not. But this was from the black engine that was that came out before the gray, and the black frame when you take the speaker out, it already has the whistle holes here, you know, on the bottom. And the gray one doesn't, so you would have to cut it out. And it also has the holes for where the whistle would screw. So well, if you wanted to make a pre-war one, the only thing I did was alter the back. You know, once you take the speaker out, you got to do it so that you can use the centering spring with a coupler. And if anybody has an interest in it, you can request it and I'll do a video about it. But that would be using the frame from the black 80s Hudson to do a post-war style, you know, trucks. The post-war style trucks for this, if you were going to make a whistle tender, you can use the remakes of the 2900 series cars that Lionel made back then in the 80s and 90s that have post-war couplers. And thank you, like and subscribe, and have a good evening.